longest day on the high school sports calendar was this past Saturday, and we say that because there was 4 Section 1 baseball championships, 4 Section 9 baseball championships, and a whole slew of other action going on. We're going to focus on the baseball here on Around the Diamond, your Tri-State MSG Varsity baseball show. This is the Metro edition, focusing on the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, and New York City. And we had, it was the longest day of the year in Section 1 baseball and in Section 1 sports, and maybe one of the craziest that I can remember. So much to talk about on this week's show. And we'll start in Class A, and we'll start with the Section 1 baseball championships. The games being played up at Provident Bank Park in Rockland County, the new Boulder Stadium, a gorgeous venue, and it was host to one of the most talked about games of the past, I would say, 10 years in Hudson Valley baseball, and you'll find out why a couple minutes from now. First, we're going to talk about, in Class A, Rye. We'll work backwards. It was the night game on the 4-game slate at Rockland Boulder Stadium, and Rye winning its first baseball championship in 30 years, and they were the dominant program in the early 80s, really because of the Surhoff family, B.J. Surhoff, who went on to play many years in major leagues. Well, they got behind early in this one, did Rye, falling behind Lakeland 2-0 in the 4th inning. The bats were dead. They woke up here thanks to some miscues by Lakeland's defense. George Kirby ducking in and out of trouble early on in this game. And just balls being thrown around, balls being dropped, runs being scored. And Griffin Tootin, an RBI in the 5th inning. Chase Pratt also added an RBI in the 5th inning. Rye took a 6-3 lead in this game, but Lakeland would come storming back, getting some deep fly ball there. Tim DeGraw, we featured him on the show a couple weeks back, couldn't get that one in his glove, so Lakeland making a little bit of a run here. As I said, it was 6-5 going to the last inning. George Kirby closes it out. He goes the distance, 12 strikeouts, 6 hits, 7 walks, 4 earned runs, and he did it on just 153 pitches. Yes, 153 pitches for a high school pitcher, just a sophomore, was George Kirby. So instantly it became a major discussion. We were tweeting about it during the entire game. 153 pitches, the count goes up there. George Kirby on 3 different occasions refused to come out of the game, told Coach Mike Bruno, I'm staying in, this is my game to win. Is 153 pitches too many? When you just hear, right there you saw he also got hit by a line drive that ricocheted off his wrist and into an area you do not want to get hit by a baseball in. He stayed in the game. That was early on in this game, and he finished it. He closed it out by putting 2 runners on in the 7th inning, getting 3 straight strikeouts to end it, including one looking right there on a breaking ball. Again, the question was, is 153 pitches too many? You know, if you've watched George Kirby pitch this season, he's the type of guy who would throw a lot of pitches. We never said 153, but a lot. He's a very easy delivery. Also didn't throw many breaking balls in this game. He threw a lot of fastballs and changeouts because early on, a couple of his breaking balls got away from the catcher and put some runners on base and allowed Lakeland to score some runs. I don't think if I was a coach, I would have done it. Only because of the backlash that would have come. People would have been talking about it. I think it's taken away a lot from this Rye victory. First championship in 30 years for them. George Kirby, though, he said it. Coach Mike Bruno said after the game, George Kirby said, I was not coming out of this game. They almost felt like they would have had to have carried him off the field to get him to leave the game. But George Kirby goes 153 pitches, does it on 3 days rest, and Rye wins a championship. Does it take away from what Rye's done? It really shouldn't overshadow what this Rye team has accomplished overall. It's been a spectacular season. They only won 6 games last year. They have so many underclassmen, including Kirby, on this roster. Rye now moves on to the state tournament, and I wouldn't be shocked if George Kirby was pitching on Friday when they play in the state regional semifinals. They're going to take on the Section 9 champions of Wallkill in that game, but George Kirby giving local fans a whole lot to talk about. Not as much of a mystery in this game, not as many questions, not as much to debate in the Class AA championship. And that being R.C. Ketchum winning for the first time in 3 seasons. They knocked off the 2-time defending champions of Arlington in the semifinals, setting up a showdown with Fox Lane. Now, Fox Lane playing in the finals for the 3rd time in 4 seasons and going to come away with 0 championships because R.C. Ketchum just jumps on them early. 2 runs in the 1st inning. Tim Zembauer, a big RBI single in this one. And then you see that was being Zembauer's shot right there, scored 2 runs in the 1st inning, and then Ketchum breaks the game open in the 2nd inning of this one. Now, Dan Alonso, the number 9 hitter on this roster, hits a grand slam in the big win, earns MVP, hit a 3-run double in the 2nd inning of this game, part of a 6-run rally, and just R.C. Ketchum broke open this game early on, 8-0, winning a Section 1 championship. Greg Blum getting the win on the mound, another sophomore going out there, and just a very gutty performance. He threw a lot of pitches early on in this game, stuck through it. Zembauer, 3 RBIs. Nick Shepard, 2 for 3 in this game. Tyler Sinelli, Jordan Bishop, 2 runs scored each. Afterwards, our MSG Varsity reporter Dave Resnick caught up with Jordan Bishop and talked about what it means to finally win a championship now as a senior.
Well, Kevin, newly minted Section 1 champ in Class AA. It's Jordan Bishop, a senior, joining us from RC Ketchum. A lot of buildup for this senior class. You were a freshman the last time the program won. What is it like to come here to the championship game and win it all?
It feels amazing. I mean, we knew what it felt like without even being on the team. And we've wanted it since we were freshmen. So came here with a chip on our shoulder and we played our heart out.
A chip on your shoulder, yet a top seed and a great team throughout the season. What is it like to meet those expectations?
I mean, there was a lot of hype about us this year. We just had to settle down whenever we heard anything good about us and knew that we had to just play our game because we knew the talent we had, so we got it done.
You come in and play your game right away with 8 runs in the first 2 innings on the way to 9 overall. How were you able to pound Fox Lane early?
We just put together good at-bats, took advantage of some mistakes, and then we played good defense, and that's what wins championships.
You talk about the hype. That a lot of that has to do with the senior class that you're a part of. What is it like to win with those teammates?
I mean, we're family. We're family here, and anything other than a championship would have been not what we wanted. So it's great to win it with my best friends.
Meeting expectations, not an easy thing to do in any sport, but really I think it's just even 10 times tougher in baseball just because of the way the game is mentally and just emotionally. And Ketchum goes out there and knocking off Arlington in the semifinals. They really had no choice but to now win a championship, and they do it by beating Fox Lane. Do yourself a favor if you're on MSGVarsity.com watching this show, if you're watching it on replay on channel 614. Go on MSGVarsity.com and check out the photo gallery that our photographer Pat Toohey did off this game. It is exceptional. Some of these photos are just art. It was a great sky with the clouds and everything, but just really enhanced our coverage on MSGVarsity.com of that Class AA championship. Now we go back to some controversy. Now we went backwards. The Rye game was the night game. The Ketchum game was the third game of the day. Now we go back to the second game of the day, not being the Class C championship. Usually doesn't get a whole lot of attention being small schools. Haldane and Tuckahoe seem to meet in the finals of just about every sport, being this prominent small school powerhouses in every sport in Section 1. They met in the Class C championship in baseball, and we were treated to another dicey finish here. You see Tuckahoe, the top seed, had a week and a half off from their last game. They didn't come into this game very sharp. Early on, Haldane takes a 2-0 lead in the first inning. Justin Maldonado and Kenny Doxey each come through with RBI singles in the first inning. Tuckahoe chips away at it. They get a run in the third inning on a single by Michael Arborn to make it 2-1. Tuckahoe would then take a 3-2 lead in the fourth inning, scoring on a wild pitch and a Mike Lischio bases-loaded walk. Sac fly tied the game back up for Haldane. So Haldane not going away here, getting some run support in this one and threatening to take a lead. It was a 3-3 game in the seventh inning, and we're not going to see the play here, but Haldane scored 4 runs in the 8th inning after going to extra innings, and Dave Rotundo getting that final out. He had 2 1/3 scoreless innings of relief to get the MVP award to Dave Rotundo, and he records the final out as Haldane goes back to back as your Section 1 Class C champions. Now, we didn't show it in that highlight. We'll show it right now. There's a play late in this game. Tuckahoe with 3-3 game, bottom of the 7th, runner on first, and Chris Corrado lays down, I guess it was supposed to be a sacrifice bunt, but he's such a good bunter, and he lays down a bunt that was just a perfect down the third base line. So you're thinking, okay, Tuckahoe's going to have first and second, nobody out there, best hitter Justin Stachinelli coming up to bat here, and then all of a sudden I put my head down and I look back up and I say, what's going on? Because the Haldane dugout is screaming to tag out Chris Corrado, and they call him out on that play. They said that he wandered into fair territory after running through the base, which you're allowed to do. That was the most mysterious part of this. The umpire claimed, at least to Tuckahoe coaches John Diarco and John Diarco Jr., who went out and argued the call, saying that he made an attempt for second base. So I went and looked up the rule. You can see the rule right here. And the wording of the rule is if the runner, it's rule 7.08, it's the base runner's rule in the baseball rule book. He is tagged when the ball is alive while off the base. The exception is the batter cannot be tagged after overrunning or oversliding first base base if he immediately returns to the bag. That's Rule C. Then in Rule J, he fails to return at once to first base after overrunning over sliding third base. If he attempts to run to second, he is out when tagged. Did Chris Corrado attempt to run to second base? I don't think he did. If you watch those highlights, of course, we do pan away to show the runner in scoring position for side finale coming up. A very tough finish for Tuckahoe. Haldane, though, they're going to take it. They're going to take their championship and win the Class C title for the third year in a row. It does cast a little bit of a negative over it, but again, Haldane did what they had to do. They got the next two. They actually intentionally walked Justin Stachinelli, who's hitting over 500 for the season. They got the next two outs via flyouts, scored 4 runs in the 8th inning. So Haldane earns the victory, though. That was a little bit of a negative over such a great, well-played game. Coach John DeArco afterwards said, how could you make that call in the bottom of the 7th of the Section 1 championship? And it's a very good question. It's something that Tuckahoe's not going to let sit well for the next, who knows how long. But Haldane moving on to the state regional semifinals, going to take on Chester on Friday night for the right to go to the state regional championship. Now we move on. A team that's been eager to finally break through and win a Section 1 championship is Rhinebeck. So many seniors on this roster, and they all say the word finally and relief, finally winning a championship, and they do it. Tyler Spinelli, Chris Cascione, both with RBIs in this game, and Ryan Aquino was spectacular on the mound. He deserved MVP. He came through with big pitches when he needed to. 7 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts, 5 hits, 1 walk. The game ender right there after North Salem put the tying run at the plate as Chris Cascione tags second base, and they celebrate Rhinebeck losing in last year's championship in Class B, and we see them finally getting to celebrate winning the Gold Glove. And as he said, as Coach Tyler Slater said afterwards to me, the relief we feel. Chris Cascione said, finally, all the guys said, finally winning a Section 1 championship, and they break through, now moving on, and their ultimate goal is to win a state title. They have that type of roster, that type of veteran leadership. And who are they going to face now? And really, they face the Section 9 champions, and the Section 9 championships were also on Saturday up in Section 9. And here we are, the Class AA champions, Valley Central, a team you don't hear about year after year. Kingston, Warwick, Valley Central was just steady all season long. And Tyler Fisher, 2 hits in 5 1/3 innings pitched to lock down a win over Pine Bush 3-0 in Class A. Wallkill winning their first ever Section 9 championship. Got a great start from Joe Pilateri, the quarterback of the football team, Section 9's all-time single-season leading passer. He leads them to a Section 9 championship in baseball. In Class B, Spackenkill yet again, 4th straight win. Team started the season, I think 0-5 they were, and here they are getting hot. Billy Winnis, 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. Blake Kowalski closed it out. Also had an RBI in this game. And in Class C, wild game between Chester and Seward. Chester wins it 6-5. Seward tried to attempt a suicide squeeze or a squeeze bunt in the bottom of the 7th. Chester made the play at the plate. Freshman pitcher Colin Marco gets the win, 7 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched. Chester moving on to the state tournament in Class C. And we have the matchups in the state tournament, as we kind of talked about them a little bit already in the show. We in Class AA, Ketchum's actually going to take on the Section 9 team, gets a bye in the opening round of the state tournament. They're going to face either Ketchum or Amira from Section 4. In Class A, Rye facing Wallkill on Friday at Canteen Field in Saugerties. Class B, Rhinebeck facing Spackenkill at Canteen Field. There's a chance they switch the times of the Class A and B games. As of right now, Rise at 4, Rhinebeck's at 1 until otherwise mentioned. Haldane taking on Chester at John Jay Cross River at 4 p.m. And then the winners of the regionals move on to Saturday's regional championships. And if you win that, you're going to Binghamton. Beautiful, sunny Binghamton. Usually rains when we go up there. The semifinals and finals are on June 14th at Binghamton at 4 different sites. And of course, the reason why would you need to switch games on a Friday in June, obviously prom. Wallkill and Rye prom are both on Saturday night. That's how things shape up in the public school ranks in New York State in the Hudson Valley Section 1, Section 9. Gonna butt heads this coming week. We're closer to crowning a champion in New York City as well. Tottenville and Grand Street. Tottenville coming off that big narrow win in Game 1 over Grand Street in the best of 3 tournament, and not so much of a mystery in Game 2. And Grand Street trying to do anything they can to force that decisive Game 3. The bats of Tottenville would not let that happen. The defense, a little pop out here as Grand Street stranded a couple runners early on in this game, and then the floodgates open. 13 batters to the plate in the 4th inning for Tottenville to blow this game open. Thomas Musso, 1 hit in 5 2/3 innings pitched. Didn't allow his first hit until late in this one, and had 5 strikeouts. Steve Edelstein, a 3-run triple in the rally in the 4th inning of this one, and Tottenville advances to the PSAL Championship on June 12th at a little place called Yankee Stadium, and they're going to face Cardozo, which actually knocked off George Washington, the favorite, I guess, in the PSAL tournament. And Cardozo, Tottenville going to play for a championship, as I said, June 12th at Yankee Stadium. Connecticut fast and furious in the postseason right now as well. We crowned a champion in the FCAC over on Friday night, that being Ward. They beat Trumbull in the finals, and now Trumbull still in the state tournament, and they had a very long matchup, very quick turnaround for a very long matchup. And they faced league rival, FCAC rival, West Hill in the opening round of the Class LL state tournament in Connecticut on Monday. And this was one of the weirder games if you look at it. West Hill, the bats broke out early on in this game. They got an early lead. But a wild stat in this game, during a stretch of 5.5 scoreless innings, the go-ahead run in this game reached second base 10 times and didn't score. This game took 10 innings to be played. West Hill turned 4 double plays in this game, but just could not get the runs they needed. And I'm not sure, no, you see again, a double play here, and Trumbull just squandering opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Finally, in the 10th inning, they get the runs they need, and it all came on a Matt DiRienzo double in the 10th inning to deliver a win. Avery Santos scoring on the play, and Trumbull wins this game 3-2 in 10 innings. So Trumbull is going to move on to the second round on Tuesday of the Class LL tournament. They're going to face a number 7 seed Xavier. Now Xavier is hot right now. They're playing great baseball, as good as any team in the Class LL tournament in Connecticut. They actually knocked off Fairfield Prep. Handed Fairfield Prep, are ranked in their top 20 poll all season long, handed them a loss in the SEC championship game. So Xavier, a very dangerous team heading into the Class LL tournament. Other highlights, the Class LL tournament, the second round is on Tuesday. Be sure to check out MSGVarsity.com for the latest on that, and take a look at some of the highlights from Monday's action in the first round. In Class L, your defending state champions, New Canaan, survived a little bit of a scare, had the rally to beat Weathersfield in the opening round. In Class M, your defending state champions, also from the FCAC, St. Joe's, scoreless and through 4 innings, they knock off Norwich Tech 5-0. And then in Class LL, your FCAC champions, Ward, they get past South Windsor. They're going to face rival Staples on Tuesday. MSGVarsity.com coverage. Be sure to check it out. And your defending champions of Amity really struggled early on. They beat Danbury, and they're going to face Fairfield Prep, their rival. And Fairfield Prep and Amity met twice in the regular season. Fairfield Prep won both times, and they actually met in last year's state semifinals. Senegal, who moves on to the quarters when they meet on Tuesday. And now on to our Tri-State Baseball poll, and a lot of the same from last week. A new number 1 will be crowned here in a couple moments, and a lot of new teams at the bottom of the poll. No surprises. It's been that way all season long, so we're going to jump right in to our number 20 team. Yes, not ranked last week, but a county champion for the second year in a row, that being Massapequa, winning a Nassau Class AA championship at 17-7. This is a team that started 0-3. They were 3-5 at one point, and they've been on an absolute tear since the middle of April, number 20. Our number 19 team is Mount Olive, your Group 3 semifinalists. They're going to take on Cranford on Tuesday to try and get to the next round of the state tournament. Number 18 from New York City, that being Malloy. They have earned a spot in Friday's Catholic Championship from the winner's bracket in the double elimination tournament. They're going to take on either St. Xaverian or St. Joe's by the Sea. Only have to win one of those games to be crowned Catholic League champions. They've been the best team in the Catholic League all season long. Number 17, Bayport Blue Point, Suffolk Class A champions for the second year in a row, knocking off Shore-and-Wading River. They're going to play for a Long Island championship. Actually, last year's Class A state champions. The best team I saw all of last year was Bayport Blue Point, and they are now 3 wins away from a state title for the second straight season. And I'm going to get through this. Hunterdon Central is your number 16 team from New Jersey, 21-4. Their season is over. They lost in the early rounds of the New Jersey State Tournament. Now to the next page. Our number 15 team is Hamilton. They won a Central Group 3 title, knocking off Wall in the semifinals and Steiners in the championship. They enter our poll for the first time. Our number 14 team, a team that lost in the Catholic Championship for Nassau and Suffolk, that being Chaminade. They're our number 14 team. At 13, Fairfield Prep, a little of a late season stumble for them. 18-4, lost to Xavier in the SEC Championship. They now move on to the state tournament. They're going to face Amity, the defending champions from Class XXL in Connecticut, in the second round matchup. Very tough early round matchup for them. Our number 12 team is St. Mary's of Rutherford, 23-5, the non-public B semis on tap on Tuesday for St. Mary's of Rutherford, which moves up 8 spots with a couple big wins over the past week. Our number 11 team, Division, your Nassau Class A champions, really going to set up a unbelievable matchup on Saturday for the Long Island Championship between Division and Bayport. That game, again, is on Saturday for the right to go to Binghamton in the state tournament in New York State. I think Division and Bayport might be the game of the weekend. I was talking to my guy, Eddie Margulies, our producer here at MSG Varsity. He said that's the game I'm looking most forward to of all in the LICs. Now our top 10 teams, and we're going to start with number 10, and that being your Long Island Catholic champions, St. John the Baptist. Their season is over at 23-5. Our number 9 team is our Suffolk Class AA champions from Long Island, and that being West Islip at 20-5, moving up 2 spots. Your Section 1 Class AA champs, Ketchum, is our number 8 team, moving up 1 spot. Terrific performance by them to beat Arlington in the semifinals, and then Fox Lane in the Section 1 championship. They move on to the state tournament this Friday as well. Our number 7 team, they spent most of the year, is our number 1 team, and that being Seton Hall Prep. Their season is over at 25-3. Number 6 is Westfield from New Jersey, 20-4 overall. Now we flip the page and go to our top 5 teams in the Tri-State, getting closer to crowning our new number 1. And we'll go to first. We'll start with number 5. Last week's number 1 team, Don Bosco, 19-9, no shame. Their season ending on a loss in the non-public playoffs in North Jersey Class A, and that being to Bergen Catholic. They're the number 5 team is Don Bosco. Number 4, Poly Prep, your New York State Independent School champions at 21-3, 4th year in a row. They win that title. They stay at the number 4 spot. Number 3, Bergen Catholic, coming off that big win over Don Bosco, the rivals. They're moving closer to a state championship, moving up 2 spots, 21-4 overall. Our number 2 team, the team that Don Bosco is Bergen Catholic's going to face in the state playoffs, that being St. Joe's Regional, 23-5. And our new number 1 team, Roxbury, they're Group 4 contenders. They're in the state semifinals, moving up that 1 spot to 24-7. The first public school team we've had in our number 1 spot in the poll. Roxbury has certainly earned it. And we are moving on now. Is Roxbury going to stay our number 1 team in the Tri-State to the end? It's going to be tough for them. They have 2 games left to win a New Jersey State title. I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week's show. I want to thank the guys in the control room, thank our producers, and thank you as well. We'll see you next week on Around the Diamond, our MSG Varsity Tri-State Baseball show, getting closer to the state finals.